My name is Micah, and sometimes I write books for fun. One of the nice things about novels, one of the nice things about really, really big stories is that you kind of assume that they're this big labor of love, they're this thing that people spend a lot of time on just because it physically takes forever to type, that much story. It's a very physically exhausting thing. It's a type of thing that takes time, even if you have a good idea. Octavia Butler once said that discipline will trump. Oh gosh, I could actually look this up. Shoot. Okay. Octavia Butler once said, "Forget inspiration. Habit is more dependable. Habit will sustain you whether you're inspired or not. Habit will help you finish and polish your stories. Inspiration won't. Habit is persistence in practice." I like the idea that you are so in love with your story, or you're so dedicated to your craft, or you want to be so good at this that you're willing to bang it out in that much paper and figure it out in that much paper. And then once you get to the end of it, once you figure it out, then you can take what you've learned throughout the entire thing and just let it trickle back on up in revisions. Freshman year, I read about 15 books, freshman year of high school. And one of the ones that really made me fall out of love with the young adult novels was Maximum Ride. And that's kind of why we're talking about this today. That's why this introduction from my brother was so that's why we're starting this thing. It's not just the idea that this is something that you read and it's unchallenging. It's the idea that you're taking something that's this thick and you're not going to care. It's not the idea that you're insulting everybody's intelligence. It's not the idea that you're trying to make something palatable for the lowest common denominator. If you're going to make money doing that, then fine. The idea is that you're going to make something this thick. The idea is that you're going to make something this thick and not try. There's no heart to it. There's no... it's one of those things that when you get into the technicals of like what makes good writing or what makes bad writing, it really makes itself bare. It really makes itself very, very obviously as something that you don't care about, you don't think about, you just kind of go through it and you feel like you're successful because you've read that much book and you haven't. I don't like the idea of reading a story just so that you can read a story. That's what Netflix is for. If you're going to put through the effort of flipping this many pages, at least make it worth your time. This is a little bit of me airing my grievances. This is a little bit of me just being upset, right? And I think that's okay. I think that's something that's healthy so long as you don't make that your primary objective. But what I really want to do with this, what I really want to do is take this thing that looks like it's really lacking in revision and talk about how stories can be better. And a lot of this is me going on record saying I don't appreciate these given traits of this story so that I won't have an excuse when I want to do that later. I won't have an excuse when I want to be lazy. I don't have an excuse when I don't want to try that given day. A lot of what I want to do is not just disparage this book, not just to tell James Patterson that his book is bad and he should feel bad. He's laughing all the way to the bank. There was a lot of mistakes in this book, and I think that we're in a position where we can learn from these things. And on top of that, I think that talking through what I see as shortcomings, talking through what I see as subpar, would offer a little bit of perspective into the sorts of things that writers go through. Again, I'm not published, but I am in a position where I am around a lot of people that are trying about as hard, if not much, much harder than I am. Not just that it gets published, but so that it's something that you're proud of, so that's something that you're willing to look at and smile upon. And so throughout this time, we're just going to try to look at those things that we're going to look at those shortcomings, and we're going to try and see how these could be better, or what standard we could have from ourselves in these texts. You don't have to write a single day in your life. I think that a lot of this just learning about the writing process or learning about what sort of stuff works or why things don't work is interesting enough. And it's what I know. It's what I've been studying this whole time. I'm excited. I'm excited to start. Right now we have the intro. One of the big things is that, or one of my big complaints is that the chapters are incredibly short. This person doesn't know what chapters do. It's a little Skinner box thing. You're trying to convince yourself that you're succeeding because you see another page break, and you just get this little bit of pleasure, like I've made another milestone. And here's the thing. There are about 134 milestones in this. Contrast that with, like, when I was a kid, I didn't like Artemis. When I was a little kid, I didn't like Artemis Fowl just because it was a 200-page book and it had 8 chapters. That was impossible when I was a kid. This is 134 chapters. And I wouldn't even call them that. I'd call them, like, scenes at best. We can get into the prologue. We can get into everything else later. I think the way that it works is that the 6 different parts are different story arcs. And by story arcs, I mean maybe episodes in a miniseries. Think about like that sort of length of time. We're just going to go through them one by one. I'm probably going to say things over and over again, but in the future I will definitely plan a lot more. I'll be babbling a little bit less, and we can talk about the different things that actually do work, because this is somebody that's published. Their grammar may be okay here and there, or their grammar may not be okay here and there. And why some things maybe don't work. I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be a fun ride. I don't think it's going to be about negativity. I don't want it to be about negativity. If you don't like this book and you want to follow along because you don't like this book, I've got a couple of pages that are just full of red pencil. And I'm excited to fill the rest of them with that too. I don't know. I'm just excited to make more of these. And that's all I've got. Alright. Have a nice day.